Hello, hello, happy life, happy journey, happy day. Man, it's Facebook Live time. It's Facebook. Oh my God. Can we just start that over again? So, happy day. We are starting our Facebook Live today about this sure as hell doesn't feel like divine perfection. That's what that's what I'm going through right now. They're talking about Mercury Retrograde. Nobody knows about astrology until Mercury Retrograde comes up. And then it's like, shit, Mercury Retrograde. But actually, it's all in divine timing. And I've been going through the retrograde myself. Right now, I'm really distracted by this thing on my glasses. So I'm just going to take my glasses off so that I don't get the reflection. Okay, so, wow. Happy Thursday. Happy life. Happy day. Hi, Jen. Great to see you, sister. So today is a challenging day. Today's a challenging day. This week has been a challenging week. And I wanted to share with you what I've been going through. Not because I know that for all of us, whatever we're going through, we're not just going through it for ourselves. We're going through it for everyone in our lives. We're going through it for everyone we'll ever meet. We're going through it for everyone we'll ever have the chance to be of service to. That this is really our intention of going through these moments, right? Yes, Jen says, dreaded Mercury retrograde. But really, it's divine timing. These are the moments. These are the moments when we get to go down into the subterranean levels of our awareness and excavate something so that we can return whole and complete. It's the process of initiation. It's the process of the hero's journey, which we're all on. So, back to kind of the intention of today. You know, I come on privilege of getting to speak with you and share with you, and a lot of times it's like, oh my God, he has such great energy, and oh, his life must be awesome. And well, you know, sometimes the shift hits the fan, right? And I've been going through that recently. This last week has been super challenging on so many levels. So I wanted to share with you that so that it's not just all sunshine and unicorns and rainbows, right? Like that's the process of our lives. But what I really want to so I'll tell you some of the stuff that I've been going through, and then I'll tell you how I've been working through it and not working through it, and how that is a huge piece for our spiritual growth and development, is like being real. So for me, it's kind of, I'm an all or nothing kind of guy. I'm either like, I'm getting up at 4:30 in the morning and I'm meditating for an hour to an hour and a half, and then I go work out, and then I do my prayer work, and then I do my journaling, and then I'm ready for the day, and I'm checking off, I do the cold plunge, and then I meditate throughout the day, and like I'm checking off all these boxes on my spiritual practices and doing my work, and everything's in flow. And when I'm perfect, I feel really good about myself. I'm perfect, what do you know? And hello from Michigan, Rachel. And then something happens, and I slip a little bit, right? Well, I don't know about you, but for me, it's like, well, seal's broken, might as well just go right on in. Like, if the metaphor would be like if you're dieting, you know, and I'm dieting, and I say I don't want to have any sugar, and I end up having a couple Hershey's Kisses, right? And I ate those couple Hershey's Kisses, and then instead of being like, okay, I messed up, I had a couple Hershey's Kisses, now I'm going to get back on track. Not me. I go, well, shit, I've already had those Hershey's Kisses. Seal's broken. Might as well go get the Reese's Peanut Butter Cups and a 2-liter bottle of Coke and some chips, and let's watch some Netflix. Like, I go in, right? I go all in. And what I'm learning this week is to be a little bit more gentle with myself and not go to these extremes, right? So what happened was that I've been doing so well on all my practices, right? Hey, Sheila. Hey, Carolina from Sweden. And David, welcome. I've been doing so well on my spiritual practices and just like keeping it up high level. And I feel good about myself. I'm checking off the boxes on my list. I'm doing what makes me feel good. And indeed, the practices themselves make me feel good. But then I went through a contraction. I went through this period of, I didn't really meditate that much in the morning. I started meditating shorter amounts of time and didn't get up as early. But I'd still do my prayer work and do my journaling and still working out and all that. And then little by little, this feeling kind of started coming over me over this last week of sadness, of really not enoughness. Like a bunch of stuff is coming up. I'm getting ready to do a presentation for a group of thought leaders. And so, it's like, well, who the fuck am I to get up in front of these people and tell them what I think, right? And so all these old patterns of not enoughness started coming up. And as I started to confront my own basic human, like, oh, I don't think I can do this. All those agreements with mediocrity, right? Anytime that we make a statement about, I don't think I can do this, and I don't have what it takes, and I'm not like them, I'm in comparison. It's all an agreement with mediocrity. Like I've made some agreement with being mediocre, and in that way, I'm feeling this not enoughness, right? Like it's coming up. And it's all coming up as I'm confronting this presentation. And so now those feelings are coming up, and now I start slipping on my practices exactly the time when I should be increasing my practices, right? And in the meantime, I'm having private counseling sessions with clients who are going through stuff, and I'm giving them great advice, and they're feeling great. At the end, it's not even advice. It's like we're having great connections, and spirit is moving through us when we're having these conversations, and they're getting something out of it, and I'm getting something out of it, and then we leave the conversation, and I go back into this feeling of not enoughness, and not enoughness gets compounded when I'm not fulfilling all my boxes, being that perfect guy that I think I should be, right? The agreement with, well, I got to go all in. I'm either 100%, and if I slip up, bam, I go all the way down. So here's what I realized. Like 4 or 5 years ago, if I had this feeling, it would have been a lot different. It would not only would have been a lot different, I would have gone a lot deeper into compulsive behavior, into some behaviors that no longer are part of my life. So the first thing I had to realize was, this contraction wasn't the same, even though the feeling was the same. I was much more expanded. So in other words, our contractions, we go through these contractions and expansions, right? The tide goes in and out. We breathe, inhale and exhale. We have to go through these expansions, contractions. It's part of nature. And so we go, we contract and then we expand, then we contract and we expand, and we contract and we expand, and we contract and we expand, and we contract. It's not like contraction, expansion, contraction, expansion, contraction, expansion. In other words, we're constantly expanding, and then there's some contractions, and then we expand, and then there's some contraction, then we expand, and then there's some contraction. So this week, as I went through this contraction, I was at this like really expanded state. I'm doing this because otherwise it goes off screen, right? I was at this really expanded state, and I had a contraction. Well, I didn't contract back to where I was 5 years ago or 10 years ago. I just contracted a little bit, even though the feeling was the same. So, yeah, I had some compulsive behaviors. Yes, I did some things that I should not have done. Mea culpa. Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. But it was good. No, I was... so, that's the first thing. It's like the foundation, right? I used to go really low, and now instead of going so low, I came here. So let's acknowledge ourselves. Let's acknowledge ourselves for, hey, I'm not the same person that I was before. And I've expanded, and yes, this is a contraction, but it's not going all the way back to where I was. So that's the first piece. The next thing that I want to share with you is that this really is all perfect. Like, all right, the moments of Mercury retrograde that are happening right now, within the Pisces moon, the Pisces sign, right? All of this has to do with going into the subterranean levels, right? Subterranean, those things underneath, underground, right? The roots of what's really going on with us. We must go down into those places. We must descend into the darkness so that we can find those parts of ourselves that we have forgotten, those parts of ourselves that we have suppressed, but are still active in our lives. They're still having influence over us, right? So this Mercury retrograde time, this time of contraction, whether it's Mercury retrograde or not, this time of contraction is indeed in divine perfection. It is indeed in divine order, because it's an opportunity for me to go down, to go into the ashes, to go into the darkness, and from that, make friends with something there, because the darkness and the light are the same to me. Right? So I can make friends with that dark part of myself and bring it up, merge with it, right? This is the point of all initiation. This is the point of all process, is that we can reach into those parts of ourselves that we are denying or suppressing and make them whole, the gestalt of it, right? So the hallmark of maturity is a fully integrated being. And when I'm having these contractions, when I'm having these moments of feeling not enough and that I can't do it and who am I and what am I thinking and oh, I might as well just dive all the way down, really what's going on is an opportunity for me to make friends with those parts of myself that are still seeking to be brought to the light. And so can I then go back to this idea of contraction and go, you know what? I'm still doing well on so many things. Can I find a middle ground? Can I find a middle ground to, maybe I'm not doing all my practices to 100%, but I'm still meditating. I'm not meditating for an hour at 4:30 in the morning, but I'm still getting up and doing my meditation. And it's not quite as robust, and I don't feel as great when I don't spend all that time, but I'm doing it. I'm still doing my prayer work, even when I don't feel like it. I'm still sitting down, and it feels a little hollow, right? Like, oh, I'm not in that, like, oh, some exalted state, right? But I'm still doing it. I'm still continuing to do the middle ground. Maybe it's a modified aspect of my practice. So in these moments where it's like, this sure as fuck doesn't feel like divine order. This feels like it sucks. I don't want to feel this way. I want to feel like I did when I was checking all the boxes, right? Find that middle ground. Be open and available to open up gently to what's happening, right? Before I kind of found out, oh, it's Mercury Retrograde and all this stuff, I was not in a place where I could see it was divine order, right? But really, can we just accept that no matter what, things are working out for us, always. So even in this contraction of not feeling great, slipping a little bit of my practices, even in that contraction, I know deep down that we've all had empirical evidence. Think back right now in your life to a time when shit really hit the fan. Stuff was not going well. You never want to go through that again. That feeling, right? Think about it. So you must have gotten through it. So if you did, we can know empirically that everything is unfolding for our divine perfection, that everything is working together for our good, and really the even better thing is that everything always works out for us. Everything always works out. It always does. And if it's in the end, what did somebody say? Somebody said, in the end, everything always works out. And if it didn't work out, it ain't the end. Okay, that's the thing, right? So if it's not working out, it's still working. It's still working. So we can anchor in, even in these moments of contraction, that everything's going to be all right. It's going to work out. And now, can I open up gently to what's so? Yeah, I'm not feeling great. Yeah, I didn't feel like coming and doing this Facebook Live because I don't feel like my old expanded, like let me drop some stuff flowing through me. Right? This is a moment where I get to just anchor in to know that it's not me, right? Me of my own self, I can do nothing. Me and my ego, we can eke it out. We can make it happen. I can force my way through. But when I sit back into a realization that there's something behind me that's got my back, that there's a presence, there's something greater, there's an intelligence greater than I could ever imagine, that's me, what's walking in. It's not me, it's what's walking with me, right? That my problems and my issues and my concerns and my not enoughness, if I'm facing it alone, I'm going down. But when I lean into the fact that there's something within me that's beating my heart right now, that's breathing my lungs right now, that it's the spirit within that's walking with me, then there's no problem. There's nothing that's insurmountable. All things are possible in this expanded awareness. So even when I'm not feeling expanded, I can anchor into those moments of knowing, right? I know empirically that everything's worked out because I'm standing here right now and I've been through some shit. I know you've been through some shit too. All of our lives have been visited with some caca, right? So we know it always works out. That's the truth. I can just anchor into something really simple. And in that moment, that helps me also to acknowledge myself, that where I've come from. Let's remember where we've come from. You're on this path. We're walking this path together. And so acknowledge ourselves for the work that we've done, and that this contraction that we're going through is not where we've been. Like a friend of mine who I hadn't seen for many years, we ran into each other. And that time I was going through this period right now that I'm going through, and they're like, "Oh my God, you just seem so amazing, and things are working out so well for you in your life, and blah 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 blah." And I'm going, "Yeah, well," in my back of my head, right? I'm like, "Oh, thank you so much," but in the back of my head, I'm like, "Shit really sucks right now. I'm not feeling it. I'm just a big fraud. What a big lie. I'm just putting on this face." And she's not, I put on a good show, so she thinks it's all going well. Really, I'm shit, right? And in that moment, I realized that this person was seeing my contraction, but they knew me from 5 years ago. And they're like, wow, like they saw me so expanded from 5 years ago. So if we could see ourselves in the growth that we've come, where we've come, we'd really have a better sense of acknowledging ourselves. Like, it's okay. All right, I'm going through a contraction right now. It's okay. All right, I don't feel like I'm doing all that I can, but I'm doing the best that I can. Right? That's one of the 4 agreements. Do the best I can. It cannot always be the same. It cannot always be level 10. Right? But it can be the best I can right now. How I'm feeling. Let me be open again. Let me be gentle with myself. Let realization that everything always works, it always has, it always will. And so it's going to work out now. That it won't always feel this way. That's another thing. We get so connected with this idea of what I'm feeling right now is permanent. We feel this way about people. That like, oh, I already know. One of my clients, she's like, I know what my husband's thinking. We've been here before. Well, no. He's different. You're different. I'm different. We're different right now. And in fact, the state that we're feeling isn't going to always be the same. But it's so easy to get like stuck into that, like I'm feeling this way and it's never going to, right? That's not the truth. So those are some of the things that I wanted to bring forth. And before I move to my next point, let's look and see some comments you guys are making. Those are labor pains before the birth. That's right. That's right. Great to see you, everybody. I'm so grateful for you all. And I really appreciate your comments. Yes, it can be a dark night of the soul, but these are all such important aspects of our journey, right? Because here's the deal. We must be fully integrated. And in order to be fully integrated, we've got to plunge into the darkness so we can see those areas of ourselves that are seeking to be brought to the light. And then we can merge with them, right? We have to make friends with them. When we suppress it, like, I don't want to feel this way, I don't want to feel this way, we're suppressing it, and that is what you resist persists. And if I get caught by it and just get hooked by the feeling of wanting to be in compulsive behavior, then I just go way down, deep down that tunnel, down that rabbit hole. And that might be what I needed at that moment so that I can feel contrast, right? But something to be said about being hooked by it. I'm not denying it. It's feeling. I normally feel. I'm going through something right now, and guess what? I know that on the other end it's going to work out, and I know that I'm doing better than I did 5 years ago, better than I did last week, and then I can just lean into the truth that there's something greater than the problem, something in me that's greater than us. It's a real deal. I'm not my thoughts. You are not your thoughts. Right? Our thoughts are the content. Our thoughts are like Reverend Michael is a great metaphor of the ocean, right? Our awareness is like the sea, it's like the ocean. And the content, our thoughts are like the content. The seaweed and the shipwrecks and the poop and the plastic and the all and fish and all the content, right? The ocean is not the content. The ocean isn't the seaweed. The seaweed's a seaweed. It's in the ocean, but it's not the ocean. It's part of the ocean, but it's not the ocean. The ocean is the water. And so our consciousness is that great sea of awareness. And our thoughts are those things that pop up, and a lot of it does feel like fish poop and plastic and shipwrecks, right? The shipwrecks of our lives. But that's not who we are. Who we are is an eternal awareness that has never been hurt, harmed, or endangered, that is greater than anything that we could imagine, and that we are that. We are that God person. We are that spirit. And our goal in going into the subterranean areas of our lives, into the animal aspect of ourselves, into the compulsive behavior aspect of ourselves, into the not enoughness of ourselves, into the I can't ever be that, when we go there, we then merge our human self, our animal self, with our higher self, our ethereal self. It's the merger of the feminine, which is the seed, the divine idea, and the masculine, which is the progenitor of manifestation, merging those two in our body. It is the merger of that spirit self with our physical self, right? Bringing those two together becomes the gestalt. Gestalt means whole. It means that we are whole. It means that we are arriving at a place of maturity, of spiritual maturity, because we're accepting all of ourselves in our fullness, right? All of it. Everything that fits my picture and everything that doesn't fit my picture. That's the biggest piece. What fits my picture is great. Yeah, it's all good when it's fitting my picture, but when it's not fitting my picture, can I know that it's still for my good? So this week hasn't really fit my picture, but I do know, not but, and there's a difference. This week hasn't fit my picture, and I know deep down in my bones that everything's going to work out. I know deep down in my bones that this is for my good, and that the work that I'm doing is making friends with, merging different aspects of myself, so that I can come back to the table whole, so I can come back to the community, so I can come back to my relationship, so I can come back to my relationship with spirit in a way that's more real and whole and complete. This is maturity. This is being the full human that we are, not truncated in some false sense of security, of aggrandizement, of grandiosity, not having to put others down. It's a real sense of like, all right, on comparison, right? Because that's the other piece. Like, I'm talking to other people who are like, oh my God, life is just so beautiful, isn't it? Oh God, in my meditation today, I went to places I've never been, and I'm like, fuck you, okay? Like, really? Oh, yeah, oh great, I'm really happy for you, right? But so that's the comparison, that's the egoic part. But when I am able to be like, you know what? Not everybody's life is Facebook. That's what happens. Facebook and Instagram, you see all the perfect, like, oh, yes. If you look, everybody's happy if you look on Facebook and Instagram. Everybody's life is perfect, right? They're perfectly framed, perfectly manipulated, and curated glimpses into life. But we're not talking about a curated glimpse into life. We're talking about a full perspective of everything. So when somebody's sharing with me about how amazing they are feeling and how everything is going great for them, and I'm not feeling that way, so know what you're doing is in divine order. It is in divine perfection when we're feeling this way, because we're going to the subterranean areas of our lives, making those things, those parts of us that are the dark side, the And in that shadow work, we bring the light and the dark are the same to thee, right? It's one energy. There's not two energies, there's one. There's not two sources, there's one. So if there's only one source and only one energy, then that shadow side has to be part of the divine. So it is in divine perfection. And the more that I can gently open up into that, the more that I can move through this with ease and grace and really accept the productive time, a rich time in our lives. These are rich transformational times in our lives. I can't tell you, me feel better. I hope it's making you feel better, because I feel better. So, all right, I'm feeling complete. I feel complete around this. That peace and blessings. Thank you for all of your comments. Actually, let me look here and see what other comments before we go. Jonathan Barry, great to see you, brother. Oh yeah, Carolyn, I love that. Om Nashavaya. Yes, indeed. Let's look through here. Brilliant. Thank you, Carolina, Stella, Tammy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm looking at Shelly. Hard times, this is from Scott. Hard times when one has a twin flame that we meet, then the divine feminine turns negative. And I had a contraction this week, and I'm breaking up. I don't know what's going on. The feed is poor. Maybe it's Mercury retrograde. Okay, sorry about that, everybody. I'm gonna cut it if we're breaking up. Cousin Joanne, great to see you. Kaleo, my brother, I love you all so much. Thank you so much. Wishing you peace and have an amazing, amazing day.